Hello ladies again. This tutorial is going to be focusing on a more natural look, or what I call my summer sun-kissed look. Again, prefacing the same way that I did on my last video. Make sure that you wash your face. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. We're going to be using pretty much all of the same brushes that we used yesterday, or in my last video, for those of you who didn't watch it yesterday, if this is a week or 2 months from now. Same brushes that we used in the last video, so if you want to have those out, go ahead. Also having your foundation primer out, your eye primer if you have that, your foundation, the basics, mascara, your eyeliner, and then whatever colors you are choosing for your mid-tone and your highlight tone. We won't really be using a contour for this particular look, and making sure that your mid-tone is definitely something close to the natural tones of your skin. So if you have fairer skin, you might want to go with kind of a peach color or a dusty rose. If you have more beige skin to bronze skin, you might want to go with the golden tones, or maybe something that has a little bit more of a bronze to it. And then your highlighting tone is obviously going to be the lighter of the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and start out the same way that I did in the last video, starting with our foundation primer. If you have not seen the last video, I'm going to be going over some things that I talked about in that one as well. So just in case, this is the first time that you're watching it, you get all of that information too. If you have already seen that video, bear with me. I'm going to be repeating myself a couple of times. Honestly, a little bit of the foundation primer goes a long way. It goes very thin. I just rub it on my fingertips and then kind of blot it on my face. So you want it, if you have oily skin, you want to put it in the areas where you're most oily. So for me, it's my chin, my nose, and then up into my forehead. And then you just kind of want to rub it all the way around. So quick, it takes no time at all. It has SPF, so it's keeping your skin protected whether you work inside or outside. You want to make sure that you're still using some kind of SPF every day. There's SPF 15 in this particular product, so you're at least getting some kind of coverage or protection as far as that goes. And then next up obviously is foundation. If you have any trouble spots, like any acne scars, or any kind of blemishes or freckles, if you don't like your freckles, anything that you would like to cover up using a concealer, I definitely recommend using your concealer before you use your foundation. So I have a little spot right here, a little breakout. It happens to the best of us. A little breakout right here, so I'm going to put a little bit of concealer on that area. For that, I just kind of use my fingertip, just so that it stays right in that one little spot. And I will be using my pink mirror again, so if my mirror gets in the way, I'm sorry. But just making sure that whenever you're concealing an area, make sure that the concealer stays in the area that you're trying to conceal. Otherwise, you're getting concealer outside of that area, and then you're having two different tones of skin that you're working with your foundation. And that can sometimes be a problem, because sometimes it can be noticeable, and the point is to cover it up, not make it more noticeable. So super easy, just that one spot. And then once again, I'm going to be using my liquid foundation brush that looks like this. Quick note on that, make sure that you're washing your brushes every couple uses. We have a amazing brush cleaner that you can purchase with Mary Kay that goes with our brush sets. Especially for the liquid foundation brushes, don't use them more than a couple of times without washing them, just because the oils that are on your faces, or extra product buildup in your brushes, will keep it from working properly. You want the bristles to be nice and clean so that they're working right. So this is one of those occasions that I'm gonna use my little pink mirror so that I know that I'm blending right. Like I said in my last video, I like to start from the top of my forehead and work my way down and out. But you can, you can put your foundation on however you like, whatever your preference is. I just feel like for me, this works best and it's the most effective as far as time management, because all of the looks that we do, we try to do them and look fabulous, but we want to make sure that we're not taking an hour on our makeup. We're all busy women, we all have lives, kids, things like that. We don't want it to take forever. So just starting with the foundation. Quick note, if you're using a powder or any kind of like a loose powder foundation, the bristle or the brushes that come in our brush set that is for like the cheeks, that one will give you more of a condensed look rather than if you use the fluffier brush, which is marked powder. So it just depends on what look you're wanting. Because this is our like more natural summer fresh look, you might want to go a little bit more sheer on the coverage. So again, that's completely up to you. It just depends on what you want it to look like. For me personally, when I'm doing this, just one thin layer of liquid foundation works just fine for me. Again, it's all a matter of what you want it to look like, what you're trying to cover up. A lot of girls tell me that they use 2, sometimes 3 layers of foundation just because they don't like their freckles. So if you're one of those girls, then feel free. Like I said, again in the last video, all of our foundations are buildable, so you can do them in layers. Which is really nice because sometimes, especially for the sun-kissed summer look, you're out in the sun and you're having fun, and sometimes your shade might look a little light. So if you put on that second layer, it'll make it look darker, and that way it'll match the rest of you so that you're not constantly buying new foundations, which is very convenient. So just finishing up this really quick. The next thing that I'm going to be using, which I talked about, is the translucent powder. This, especially for the summertime look, is helpful for mostly because, in the summer we sweat. We don't like to admit it, ladies, but we do. We sweat, or glisten if you would rather use that word. And the translucent powder just really helps keep everything in place even when you're out in the sun and it's hot and you're sweaty. It really helps keep everything in place, and it keeps you from looking quite so flushed. So that's really nice. So that's going to be my next step. I'm going to just put a little bit of extra just in that one spot that I had concealer on. Okay, we're good to go. So if you are using a translucent powder, you can use the brush that is marked powder. It's the big fluffy one in your set. I just put my translucent powder a little bit in the lid, and then I will dab it on the top of the brush and then just kind of tap off any of the extra. Always go in circular motions so that it evenly covers. Go down into your neck. Again, if you have oilier skin, this would be your chance to really make sure that you've got those spots covered as far as keeping them from being too oily. So you'll take your translucent powder and really focus on the areas that you get the most oil. So like I said, for me, it's my chin, my nose, and then into the middle of my forehead. So basically my T-zone is what gets oily, which is true for most people. So that's it, just a good foundation for us to start out with. So that part is done. The next thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of eye primer, just because, again, this is a summer look, so we're sweating, that kind of thing. Just putting a little bit on my ring fingers, Making sure again that anything having to do with your eyes, that you use your ring fingers, just so that you're not putting too much pressure on your eyes, because putting pressure and rubbing on your eyes is actually what makes your dark circles stand out and what makes them worse or darker. So just very, very lightly using your ring finger. That's all it takes. So for this look, we're going to be using our mid-tone, which I'm actually going to be using the same mid-tone that I showed in the last video. It is our Sienna, which is my middle one right here. So take your color brush, which looks like this. Again, not to be confused with the crease brush that has the little tip on it. So I'm just going to be using a little bit goes a long way. So just a little bit of mid-tone color. And then always start from the outside and work your way in. So going in circles, I put my mid-tone above my crease, but below my brow bone. So like you can feel that bone where your eyebrow is, like it's gonna be right underneath that, just so that we're not going up too high with it. You wanna make sure that you have, you know, a good area underneath your eyebrow for your highlighting tone. When you're using brushes, always make sure that you're keeping a tissue or something close at hand so that you can kind of wipe away any of the loose powder, especially if you're going to be using the same brush to change colors. You want to make sure that you have something so that you're not mudding out the colors that you're using. So just a little bit more mid-tone, just to kind of give my eye the shape that I want. I use my brushes kind of in a circular motion because the shape of the brushes really does all the work for you. So you don't really have to think about it too much. So that's all for the mid-tone. We don't want a ton of it because, again, this is our more natural look. This is something where like the sun-kissed look, so you don't want a ton of color because then it stops looking natural and it starts looking like you're wearing a bunch of makeup. So the next step after this is that we are still going to use a little bit of highlighting tone. So if you are already done, like I like to build my color a little bit. So if you've already done this part and you're good to go, go ahead and wipe off your brush and put a little bit of highlighting tone on there, which is what I'm going to do right now so that you can see what I'm doing. Let me make sure that they're even. That would be bad. That looks better. So go ahead and wipe off your brush, and then we're going to be putting a little bit of our highlighting tone underneath our eyebrow. Again, if you already have enough space from the crease of your eye to your eyebrow, you don't necessarily have to use a highlighting tone. I just do personally because I like how it makes it look. So that's what I do. If you don't want to, you don't have to. There's actually going to be a third step for our eyes that gives the illusion that you have a nice highlight. So if you want to, you can skip this part. Just for me personally, I like how it looks. So I just put a little bit underneath my eyebrow so it really makes my arch stand out. And then I will put a little bit in the crease of my eyes too, just very lightly swiping it across. Nothing major. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side. Just a little bit, not too much. You don't want to go crazy with it. Like I said, we're trying to keep it looking natural and pretty. So a little bit in the crease. And for this, I do like to overlap into the mid-tone just a little bit, just for a little bit of depth and definition. And also, if you, when you have no makeup on and you look at your eyelids, you'll notice that your eyelids tend to be a little bit of a darker color than like the flush of your cheeks or that kind of thing, just naturally because of our blood vessels and things that we have in our eyelids. We have a little bit of that color, which is why the mid-tone, when you're doing a natural look, isn't necessarily a bad thing, just because we already do have a little bit of color in that area already anyways. So easy. For this look, I don't put any mid-tone or anything underneath the bottom part of our eyes, just because, like I said, trying to keep it as natural as possible. So my next step is I definitely would suggest using a bronzer for this look, just because it makes it, that's where we get the sun-kissed from, is from the bronzer. But if you're a blush girl, which a few of you are, I know, you can use a blush for this too. You just might want to experiment with it a couple of times to see how the color looks before you go out and do it, or before you do it right before going out, I should say. So my bronzer palette, it's almost gone because I've had it for like a year and I love it. But my bronzer palette has different colors on it. So what I do is just kind of go around in circles so that you're making sure that you're evenly getting the color. And then same thing, just kind of tap off the extra. And for your bronzer or your blush, you're gonna want to use your cheek brush, which is, it looks like the powder blush, but it's not as fluffy. So it's the one that is shorter. And they're all labeled, which is super convenient. So you take a little bit of your bronzer, and then what I do is I just gently kind of dab it on my eyes. For one thing, this is gonna blend your mid-tone and your highlighter, which is nice because we always wanna blend. We never want any defined lines or harsh lines on our makeup. It would completely throw off the fact that we're trying to make it look natural. So I just very lightly kind of dab over my eyes with my bronzer, and then you can usually, if you know, you shouldn't be putting too much on your brush at once, so go it again, and then tap off the extra, and then I will just finish it up by putting it right on my cheekbones. Now I have some pretty predominant cheekbones. They're definitely there, you can see them, so I don't have to do like any weird faces or anything to get them, but whatever you have to do to make sure that your blush or bronzer is in the right spot, do whatever you gotta do. But for me, I just gently wipe it on my cheek and then up into my hairline. And if you want, you can kind of dab over your eyes and then bring it up into your hairline that way. Now I'll go into my hairline on my forehead too, especially for this look, because it just, the contouring actually is in spots that you would naturally glow if you were in the sun. So it doesn't look like you're putting on a bunch of makeup in those spots. So just a little bit on your cheeks and then up into my hairline, and then make sure that, again, we're always blending. We never want a line of blush or bronzer. It never looks good. So make sure that you're blending it out, and then down into your neck, just to make sure that everything is all blended. And then I'll grab a little bit more for the other side. So same thing, you want to kind of dot it on your eyes. For one thing, most bronzers have a little bit of a shimmer to them, so it'll kind of give your eyes a little bit of a shimmer, but mostly it's because the color of the bronzer is really gonna complement your eyes and kind of make them sparkle and make it look like, you know, you've been out in the sun and you're a little bit flushed, but it's just that pretty glow. So you bring it across your cheeks again and into your hairline again, and then one more time going over your eyes and then up into your hairline. So bringing it down into your neck, making sure that you're all blended and it looks nice. Okay. And then as far as colors go, ladies, I mean, honestly, that's it. If you want to add a little bit of extra blush or bronzer to the apples of your cheeks to give it, you know, a little bit of extra glow, go ahead and do that. Just give yourself a nice good smile, and right on the apples of your cheeks, just kind of dot a little bit more and then blend. And as far as color or anything, we're done. That's it. That's all it takes. It's so simple and it looks really nice. So this is where I'm going to put on my first layer of mascara. Always remember that if you're using an eyelash curler, that you want to curl your eyelashes before you put mascara on, so that way you don't rip out your eyelashes when you go to release the curler. So what I do is I will start at the base and curl the base, and then I will walk my eyelash curler up, so that way you don't have the eyelashes that go either straight up or straight out. Like it doesn't look natural. So you want to make sure that you're walking the curler up your eyelashes so that it gives it a natural curl. Especially for this look, we want our eyelashes to look natural too. And even if you're using a curler, you still want them to look like they're naturally that curly. So starting at the base and then just kind of walking out up to the top of your lashes. So right now would be when you put on your first layer of mascara. The first layer doesn't have to be super thick. Actually, it's better if the first layer is thinner. For one, you don't want your lashes to clump together right out the gate. And also, really, you're just putting on mascara to hold the curl that you just gave yourself. Because, you know, if you curl your eyelashes and then do your eyeliner and that kind of thing, by the time you get to your mascara, your curl is gone. It's not there anymore. So you're just using the first layer of mascara just to hold the curl that you just gave. And like I said, keeping it thin is the way to go for the first layer. I personally do 3 layers of mascara. So the first one is the thinnest. You know, obviously you want to keep that one the thinnest. So that's good. That's all we need. So while that is drying, I'm gonna do my eyebrows. So what you'll want to do is start out with your eyebrow brush that looks like this, and then it has the stiff bristles on the end of it. So you'll start with the brush side and then just kind of a light grooming. So you will brush out your eyebrows, always brushing up, never down. So brushing up on your eyebrows just to kind of groom them and, you know, find your natural shape to your brows. I personally like to use pencil just because I feel like for me the pencil looks the best, but some people use powder. If you use powder, or if your eyebrows are, you know, thick enough to where you don't need to really fill them in, you just want them to look finished, a powder might be, you know, your best bet. But I personally use pencil. So when you're using pencil, always feather light strokes, and always feather light strokes in the direction that your hair is already growing. Never one fluid line, because it just won't look natural, especially for this look. You're really just using the pencil to fill in what is already there, to just make it look like you have more hair in that area. Never try to give your eyebrows a different shape than what they already naturally have, because it never looks as natural as you are hoping it's going to. If you don't have an arch, don't try to draw one. It's not flattering to your face shape. You always want to go with what you already naturally have. So you're just filling it in and then using your eyebrow brush to kind of brush it out, brushing out the pencil or even powder if you're using powder. Using the brush to brush it out makes it look a lot more natural than if you are just doing a pencil and then you leave it. Because basically what using the eyebrow brush does is it gets rid of any of the maybe like harsh lines that you might have if you were pushing a little too hard, or, you know, etc., etc. So one last brush through, and then I'm going to do the other side. And then that is it, ladies. Eyeliner for this look is completely optional. Remember that the purpose of eyeliner is to make your lashes look thicker. It is not to give your eye a different shape. It is just to enhance the look of what your eyelashes look like. So for me, this look, I go very, very, very light on the eyeliner. So what I'm going to use is my retractable eyeliner pencil, which looks like this. So by retractable, it just means that you can, you know, push it up and down. So I'm going to use it and just very, very lightly just put a little bit of eyeliner right in the lash line. I'm not trying to draw a straight line. That won't look natural. I'm just trying to put a little bit of liner to give my eyes a little bit more definition and pop. Again, it's just to make our lashes look a little bit longer. So really, that's all I need. Boom. And I'm not putting any on the bottom, again, just because we're trying to make this look as natural as possible. Now is a good time for the second coat because your first coat has definitely dried for your mascara. So second coat of mascara. And then we are just going to be finishing this look off with a little bit of a lip gloss. Because your eyes are so natural, if you wanted to put a little bit of a pink lip gloss on, feel free. But like I said, my personal favorite is our Au Naturel because it really does match the natural tone of my skin, or the natural color of my lips too. So I just put a little bit on just to kind of give my lips a little bit of color, a little bit of moisture, and then a little bit of gloss. And then that's it. For our summer sun-kissed or natural look, if you want to call it that, that is all I do. When I'm doing this at home by myself, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm out the door. Quite frankly, this is my like dash out the door look. Just because if I want to be wearing makeup, but I don't want to be wearing a lot of makeup, this is what I do. And for the summer, it's so nice because with the bronzer on your eyes, there's a little bit of a shimmer. It looks really nice and it works for every skin tone as long as your mid-tone and your highlighting colors are right and your blush color is right, if that's what you're using. As long as those colors that you're choosing are correct for your skin tone, it always looks nice. So if you're on my Facebook, I will be posting an after photo. I didn't take a before this time, I'm sorry. But I will be taking an after photo so that you can really see what it looks like because I know this video is not super clear. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Other than that, we are all done and you're all ready for your day. So have a great one. Bye.